Hi everyone, my name is Richard.
And my name's Maelle.
And welcome to you all today. We're going to make some delicious but very simple Easter treats for you. And to start with, we're going to make a chocolate ganache, which will go into a tartelette, which we're then going to decorate ready for Easter. In front of us, we have a saucepan, we have a grater, an orange, we have 200 grams of whipping cream, and we have 200 grams of chocolate, 72%. The first thing we're going to do is to pour the cream into the saucepan. Thank you. And then we're going to put the cream onto the stove and bring it to the boil. Okay, right, our cream has now come to the boil, and we really want to be very careful not to let it boil over, because then it's just a mess to clear up. And the next thing we do is we're going to put the chocolate inside. Maelle, if you could do that for me. Good. Right, and now with the spatula, just stir it all up. Right, the heat from the cream will melt the chocolate, right, but it won't get the chocolate too hot, because one of the things we want to keep is with the ganache, when it goes into the tartlets, we want it to stay glossy. So you can give that a good old mix. You can feel the chocolate's melting now.
Yeah.
So mix it all up now, and so that all becomes together. And you can see it staying nice and shiny. And there is enough heat there to melt all the chocolate. And one thing you must avoid doing is taking the saucepan and putting it back on the stove, because then you run the risk of burning the chocolate, and that is not a good thing to do. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to grate a little bit of orange zest into it, just to give it a perfume of orange, and no more than that. Lovely. Can you smell the orange?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, right, we've made our ganache, and the ganache is now cooling, so we can get on with making our tartlet cases. What I have in front of me is the remains of a block of 500 grams of standard sweet pastry, and this is sweet pastry is the thing that we use to make our desserts out of. The other equipment we need obviously is a rolling pin. We need some individual tartlet moulds with loose bases which come out. We need some flour to stop it from sticking, and also we need a large cutter so that we can cut the pastry out to the right size to fit into the tartlet moulds. Right, and then following on from this, we have cupcake cases, which is our secret weapon, and I'll tell you about that in a few moments when we've rolled the pastry out. Okay, so enough flour to stop the pastry from sticking, but no more, because otherwise the pastry has a tendency to become dry. And as much as possible, make your rolling simple, long, easy motions, because otherwise you end up working the pastry too much, and then it can become a little bit tough. Okay, right, so we cut, we lift, and then fit it into the middle, let it drop in, and then work it into the corners like that, gently with your fingers, all right? And then just work it up to the edges, comme ça. Lovely, okay, cool. Right, and while you're doing that one, I'm going to explain about these. We're going to bake these in the oven, and we are going to bake them blind, and that means we're going to line them with paper to stop the pastry from going too brown. And the easiest way to do this is to take a cupcake case, reverse it, push it into the middle, hold it, and then using your fingernail, just push it into the corners like that. And not only will that stop it from going too dark, but it'll also help the pastry stopping collapsing it into the tartlet mould itself. So, I'm going to put them on our baking sheet, and we're going to put them straight in the oven, which is preheated to 170 degrees Celsius. And those will take around about 15 to 20 minutes, but we're going to keep an eye on them. For the last 4 or 5 minutes of baking, we're going to take the paper out so that the pastry has a chance to dry and crispen up. Thank you. Okay, we've got 5 minutes left on the tartlets, Maelle. Could you bring them out and we'll take the papers
Sure.
out and we'll have a look. Be careful, obviously, because it's hot. That's great. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to take the papers out. Just check the pastry.
It's looking good.
It is. And it smells good too, doesn't it? All right. So we're now going to put those back into the oven for the last 4 to 5 minutes, just to crispen the pastry a little bit and to give it just a little bit of colour. But this is now where we need to watch it because it's like now toast. And we know what toast is like when it starts to go brown. It goes brown very quickly. The buzzer's just gone, Maelle, so if you can bring them out, and we'll have a look at them. Thank you. And again, be careful because they are hot. And those are perfect. Right? There's just a little bit of colour on them. They smell nice. They're clearly crispy, but we can't do anything with those now until they have cooled. So we're going to put them to one side.
How long do they need to cool for?
They will take, we need to leave them for about 10 or 15 minutes before we can get them out of the moulds, and then we should leave them for a little bit longer, because if we put the ganache in while it's still warm into a warm pastry case, we run the risk of the sides collapsing. Okay. And it won't look great, it'll still taste good though, but we want to be able to present these to our parents a bit later on as a tartlet.
Yeah.
Okay? Good. Okay, our tartlets are now cooled, so we're going to get them out of the shells. So if you want to make a start.
So should I press the
Yep,
bottom?
that's why we have the loose bottom tins, because it just makes it much easier.
This?
Right, do you want me to use the knife?
Oh,
no, well done. Cool. Right,
I'll put this
perfect, lovely.
What do I do if it's stuck?
I can just take the point of a knife and just release it like that.
Perfect.
Yep, good. Even marvellous. Okay, so now we've taken the tartlets out of the rings and we are ready to fill them. I'm going to bring the chocolate ganache over from the stove where we've just been leaving it to stay a little bit warm. And could you start to spoon it in?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so do you want to bring the tartlets right up against the side so that the chocolate doesn't have very far to travel? Okay, cool.
How full?
I think you should take them pretty much up to the lip of the tartlet.
Okay.
Bit more? Lovely. I think that sounds good. Or looks good, I should say. Whoever heard chocolate sounding good? Chocolate is just plain good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can you see how we've managed to keep the gloss on the ganache so it's nice and shiny?
Is that because we heated it a little bit?
It's because we didn't get it too hot.
Okay.
Super. I think those look really nice. They certainly smell good. Okay, so what we'll do now is, so that the chocolate starts to set, we're going to pop those in the fridge just for about 10 minutes. So we've taken the tartlets out of the fridge because the ganache, I think, is set enough for us to start decorating.
How firm do they have to be? Does the ganache have to be?
The ganache needs to be firm enough to support the weight of whatever you put onto it, because otherwise it's just going to sink. And then it'll still taste good, but it'll lose a certain bit, lose some impact.
So when I grab it, I don't want it to...
No, you shouldn't pour out at all. Okay, good. So we've got some eggs, and we've got some stuff over there in pumps, aerosol pumps, which I think looks gold and silver at the moment.
Yeah.
Really cute. Really cute.
I'm going to try the silver one.
Okay.
Can you eat this?
Yes, it is edible, yes. Ganache is just the right consistency.
Because it's letting me put them in.
Absolutely. If it's too hard and it rolls, they roll around. Okay, great. So shall we divide them and put 3 onto each dish?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
And then can I like eat these straight away, or do I have to wait?
Well, you can eat them straight away, but I think it would be quite nice to wait until the others have seen them at least.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there we have our delicious chocolate tartlets decorated for Easter. They look really nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Really good job.